Destiny will come, naturally. That's what keeps me going, because I know somebody always on my side. Every morning he was like a dad to me. He was going to prison.
One time for the slow grind. Fast niggas slow down. Podcast. I'm KY Kruger, writer, artist, and producer. On this podcast, we cover all topics, including but not limited to crime, trauma, and abuse. Viewer discretion is advised. Amber.
Hi.
Thank you for your first female guest.
I'm honored to be here. I just, I have a lot I could say.
Tell us a little bit about you and where you come from. Let's start from there.
I grew up out on 68, US 68 highway. Everybody asks where I'm from. I tell them the highway because that's literally where I'm from. I grew up in a big farmhouse that my grandparents had restored long time ago, right there in Fairview. It's a car lot now, but it used to be a restaurant like many years ago. It's a big farmhouse that I believe Dr. Gehring bought eventually.
After your people restored it?
Yes. We lived there all of my years growing up, but they lived there for many years. I couldn't tell you how many, and I'm an only child.
No, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, I'm an only child. I'm 39. I just turned 39 in February.
That's a good age.
Yeah, February. I'm an Aquarius. I just, I grew up a very lonely child. I grew up with all the older generations. You
were probably have to be very imaginative, back then, just being an only child. I was the only child in that sense. So I know that I, maybe, entertain myself a lot.
Right. Yes, absolutely. They initially bought the farm, I think, because they wanted to raise horses. And when my parents had me at a very young age, they were like teenagers. They actually ran away and went to Tennessee to get married because they were so young when they got together and had me. My mom was 16. Yeah, my dad was 18, and my mom's from here in Maysville, and my dad's from Fleming County. They had me, and then my grandparents kind of took over. They let my grandparents have me, so they raised me.
That's a familiar story for this age group. That's my age group, and that same thing that happened with me and a lot of other people I know. I'm thankful for my grandma picking up the reins there.
Yes.
So, your parents, they still alive?
They are. My mom and dad, Kevin and Melissa Hall is my mom and dad. They raised my 3 older children. I have 4 children now of my own. And they have my 4, they have 3. And then my uncle, he has my youngest, Jordan. And they just kind of helped out, because I had a hard time. I was a young mother also. I was 17 when I had my oldest. So
you said your parents got married at 16 and 18, and then they had you directly thereafter. So did you all live in that house that you speak of? Your parents and your grandparents? Or?
Well, no. It was just my grandparents and my great grandmother, Naomi Pogue. She was my grandmother's mother, and she was kind of like the nanny. She took care of all of the grandchildren, and I was the first great-grandchild. There was only 2 of us great-grandchildren at the time. My aunt and uncle, they're from Lexington, and they don't have any children. So it was just my uncle had his daughter, and then my mom had me, and then my aunt and uncle didn't have any children. So we're just kind of we're a small family, really, until we started having children, my generation, all my cousins, we all started having children, and now there's a lot, there's between us all.
Where did you go to school at?
Fleming County. Yeah, Fleming County Panthers.
What year did you graduate?
Well, I was supposed to graduate in 2004, which that's when I had my child. But I got expelled for fighting. I was not allowed back at that school in the ninth grade. They had expelled me indefinitely. I got in a pretty bad fight with a girl. And it was bad. But, it was nothing. I was always told, don't start the fights. But, don't take an ass whooping either. And I didn't, so that's just how that went,
Did what you were taught there.
Yeah.
How did you do in school as far as grades?
I did terrible. I did terrible. I was more of a social butterfly. I didn't do well in school. I could have if I would have tried. Yeah. I was better in English and language arts than any of it.
That was your strong suits?
Yeah. I was in an alternative school, I remember one time, and I wrote a poet. I had entered a poetry contest, and I won a national poetry contest, and I was not allowed to accept the award because I was in alternative school.
No shit.
Yeah, they said they come and told me, they said, you won, but we can't let you have the award, because you're in alternative. So, but it won, and I'll never forget. It was called Green Lipstick. I don't know what made me. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember any of it?
No, I don't, but I remember the name of it.
Green Lipstick.
Yeah, and I remember writing it. I just don't remember none of the words.
I wrote a poem and sent it home from prison to my mom, and she got it published in a little some little book. She sent it to him. And
Really?
The poem I wrote was called "Salad No Dressing."
Ah.
Yeah, and I wasn't able to accept the award for it either because I was in prison. And
That's crazy, isn't it? I loved it. I was always really my vocabulary was very wide expanded. I spoke well. My family owned businesses my whole life, so I was in the public eye most of my life. So, I was able to speak well, and my family had taught me at home, a lot.
You're the only child. You either got a lot of attention or none. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they taught me the basics and everything I needed to know, as far as, surviving in this world, but, like when it comes to testing and knowing how to, math was not my strong suit. I always had someone, to help me with that. But yeah, I did pretty well when it comes to like knowing the basics. They taught me, but I was more of a physical endurer. Like I like to work. I like to get out there and interact and do things. That was more physical than sitting behind a desk. That wasn't my strong suit.
In high school, that you were probably a knockout. You know what I'm saying?
I did. I was easy on the eyes, I guess. Yeah, but I never let that. That was never. I got along with all areas. Like I was friends with all different kinds of cliques. I just kind of bounced around.
'Cause I've known you for about at least 3 years.
Yeah.
More.
We're going on that now. Yeah, say.
So when did in life do you think that you felt as if things were a little different for you?
Okay. Well, I'd had, like I said, I got pregnant when I was 16, and I had my child at 17. So when that had happened, we were a small family, but we were kind of a close family, growing up. And so there was an event that took place in my family's life that my grandfather, he was at the time, he like I said, he owned businesses. He actually retired from Brownings. And then once he had done that, he had picked up a trophy shop business downtown. He called Interstate Trophies. And we also owned Goddard Racetrack. It was a dirt track out towards it was in Hillsboro going towards Moorhead in Fleming County. And he like, okay, so there was an issue with the family. I knew there was something wrong, and they had told me that he had embezzled some money, and he was going to be going to prison.
What?
Yeah, we're talking the man that raised me, that was like the Brady Bunch, kind of,
You never seen it coming.
No, the man that went to work in a suit and tie every morning, that was just, my everything. He was like a dad to me. He was going to prison. So, it was just like, the world was ending. My world was ending, because, my grandmother, she was awfully upset. It was her family's money. And I think some other issues were involved too.
It was a public scandal.
It was. And then, she had a cousin from New Jersey, I think, that it had involved, and he was the trustee over it because he had his license in real estate too, and he was an auctioneer, and he had a lot of other things he did on the side, and he's a very intelligent, very brilliant man, and he just had a money problem. He liked money, and he took care of his family. I guess that's how he took care of his family. I don't know, but we just my grandma was upset, she had the whole family just like turning their backs on him, and he went to prison, she divorced him, and that's kind of when everything just changed, because the whole family just kind of went their own way, and nobody really talked anymore. So that just kind of left me just kind of like floating, aimlessly, because nobody. It was like I needed that family to hold me together, because I felt like, I didn't have anyone anyway, so it was like they were all I had, and then once they went their own ways, and I was just like kind of left, I felt kind of deserted, like I've been left behind, kind of, because I couldn't be mad at him, like I couldn't just like turn my back on him because of what he'd done, and just, I'm a forgiving person, myself, and I felt like he needed forgiveness, and I thought it was a little extreme just to up and just abandon him for.
So he ended up, how much time did he give her?
He did 4 years between. From what I hear, like, I didn't keep up with him too much because I had my own family by this time. I had my child, and then I had, I have 3 others after that, but he had done some time in LaGrange and Blackburn that I do know of.
But he went through the time and got.
Yeah, he did 4 years for sure that I know of, and then I think he had a heart attack while he was in there, so he may have got some time off for that.
Yeah. And so when he got out, did he go? Did he still have property and?
No, he had signed whatever he had over to his children, and of course, they split it amongst them, because I guess they figured, well, everything else has been a lie. We better go ahead and settle now for what we got, and then go from there. But they luckily all of his kids had done well. And they had all done really well throughout their lives, and they didn't have to worry about that, on top of their issue, So, just whatever was left over from what had been taken from the embezzlement, or however that worked. I don't know. I was still young, They made it work. I guess my children had become a blessing to them, because they ended up with all of them. With all 4 of my children, so they just kind of focused on them.
So they was a blessing to you, and they're a blessing to your kids as well.
Yeah. So they took my children, and they've been raising them, and I guess I'd had my own struggles throughout that period, and I'd done some things that, landed me in jail also. So I've been in and out of jail quite a bit.
Do they disown you?
So, yes, I'm gonna have to say yeah. My grandmother, she was probably the one and only one and only one of all the family, other than my aunt and uncle out of Lexington, that did not, completely shun me. Like, I've been through it all. I've been through the rehab. I've been through jail. I've had my struggles with drugs. I've had, I got multiple dads for my children's fathers, like they're, like I've done it all, but I've come a long way. I married, and my husband, he died while I was in jail. He's not, from here.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he died. Thank you. He was 22 years older than me, and he was from Sacramento, California. I met him while I moved to Moorhead, and he was he worked at Moorhead Electric. So he was a very genius man himself. He's brilliant. He rewound the electric motors there, and he had 2 children my age. Yeah, when we got together, and we married and had 2 children, and he was from a different breed. Yeah, that, and he was in a biker club, so he had lived a very different life than me, lifestyle. So, I learned a lot. We were married for 10 years, and I learned a lot. Yeah, he showed me a very different life,
It was exciting.
It was exciting. It was extreme. But I'm glad I learned, because, me being on my own, he taught me some things I needed to know, just to survive.
See a different side of things.
Because I grew up, like I told you, in the Brady Bunch. It started out being the Brady Bunch, and then it ended up being more like the JFK, and my life was a lie,
Yeah.
But then after that, I went my own way, and it was more like, survival of the fittest. So, I had to know.
Yeah. So, because when you got in that trouble, you said, and so it was your first bit that your husband died, or when?
Oh no. So I had never really done a long stint, but throughout my life, the longest stint I've ever really done in full was probably a year. But I would say every 6 months I was getting arrested and doing 6 months. So it's like I've done more jail time than I have school time. Yeah. Over half my life.
And that's my experience, that you were running into a lot of the same law enforcement and the same, or
a lot.
Your charges spread out from here around?
It was just, in Moorhead, Kentucky, I've probably done, I couldn't even tell you how many years, probably a good 5, 6, maybe even 7 years there altogether. And then here in Maysville, I've probably done a good same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when Amber's in the cell,
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that do you do good time in there, or like?
I do. I get along with all, like you said, all the inmates. I don't never have a problem getting along with the inmates. I do have a problem with a lot of the guards. I don't get along with a lot of them. Yeah. So if they're not putting me in the hole, I'm putting myself in the hole. If that makes sense. I don't know. I get a little mouthy sometimes, like defending mine,
No doubt.
it's sometimes I don't always agree with the way they're, treating us. So I'll lash back. I'll lash out at them, and they'll lash back, and then it's just, it goes on from there,
So currently, where do you stand legal wise? Are you in good standing, or
I have child support issues. Yeah, I do. I have a lot of child support issues. I've come a long way with the drugs. I've completed rehab several times. Completed, yeah. But I find myself right back at square one. If I'm not doing the drugs, I'm in the same atmosphere. A lot of it's because I don't have a stable environment.
like you haven't since the family was broken up?
Right.
Papaw.
Right. Yeah. It's just been I've not really been able to get up on my feet, and maintain a job. Like I've went as far as to get out, have a job, go through with the job, work the job, do great, and then park a vehicle in the parking lot of the place to work, and then have to go live in the vehicle just to be able to be there and go to work the next day.
Yeah.
I mean that's and I did it for as long as I could, like I would do it for as long as I could, and then it just, after so long, it's just like, it gets to you. It gets to be a bit much when you see no results,
Right.
If you,
Where were some of the places that you worked?
well, okay, so like I recall a time that I had worked. I went through rehab. I'd done a year. I went through rehab, completed it, and then got out. The rehab wanted me to stay and become an intern. Because they like me. I'm good at what I do, whatever I do, Forth any effort, whatever it needs done, I'm putting forth whatever effort I can. Yeah, and so I remember they wanted me to become an intern, and I didn't want to do it. By this time, like this is, I was tired of being publicly just involved. I didn't want to. I just wanted to focus on me for a while, and just kind of just relax for a little bit because I've been going hard, like I said, whatever I did for so long. And I remember coming home and I was like, man, I was like, they're gonna be mad because I didn't take this internship. I better get a job because they're gonna wonder how I'm gonna pay my child support, my family, of course. And I was like, I better go talk to somebody. So I went and talked to somebody and got a job right away. I got a job at Toyo and I was like, I'm gonna start work tomorrow. And I said, I paid $100 on my child support. I got a phone and I got a job. And she's like, oh no, you didn't. You should have took that internship. I was like, well, I didn't want to, like I didn't want to do it. And she's like, oh, you made a big mistake. I was like, well, can I stay here while I get on my feet and save up some money? Because, you get paid good at Toyo.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and she's like, no, I'm gonna park my vehicle at the parking lot there at Toyo and I'm gonna take the keys. And when I see you're doing good, then you might get to I might get to come and stay with her. I won't get the keys ever, so I was like, okay. So I did it for a while, and I showed them, and I come home, and once I come home, it just I went to stay with my uncle, and he's just kind of got like he takes in all of the family, so all the kids, all the, he remarried, so he had someone with children too, so they was living there, so we all lived there, and it was hard just being by myself and doing it on my own, and, You know, he expected a lot to, pay to live there. So I was basically just running my ass off for nothing, just working for nothing, paying him, a god awful amount of money. I was like, I quit. Hate me if you want. Y'all hate me if you want. I can't do it by myself like this.
It's familiar to me, I come from a family of the same era of, age group we're talking about as grandmas and grandpas here.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that generation of women, I don't know what they endured, but they're controlling.
Mm-hmm.
They're very controlling.
Yeah.
When I was adult with my first child, and how they like overstepped, I feel, boundaries between me and my child. Sometimes it don't feel like love.
Yeah. Like I've noticed, so my great grandmother, same scenario as me, other than not being an only child, she had 10 siblings, from Mays Lick. She married, the bus driver that she put her siblings on the school bus, every morning. She married him, and he was she quit school in the 8th grade. I quit school in the 9th grade. Okay, and she had taken care of her siblings. She married the school bus driver. Well, he was 22 years exactly older than her. It was so crazy. And then
your husband was
22 years older than me, and that was ironic, I thought. Her husband ended up being blind, but he eventually died. So he died. Her son died, and her son had leukemia, which so does my son. But my son didn't die. But her son and her husband, her husband died, her son had leukemia, and then she had a third person die that was really, important. I forget who it was, that was important to her, but she didn't have anybody, so she depended on family to take care of her. And, that was ironic to me.
And so you think that her family made her feel like that?
I think, yeah.
Probably.
I think that I'm going through the same things because she was left with no one. You know what I mean? And she had to depend on a really hard life after that.
Yeah. Or subject yourself to something that you're absolutely not content or.
You have to live under someone else's rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was just like widows. I've noticed now that I've had to experience it that widows they go through a lot because it takes two to make it.
Yeah.
My grandma always instilled that in me that it takes two to make it, but yet I have to. She encourages me to be independent, so I don't understand the irony in that.
Yeah. Not that family still don't mean anything. I'm a firm believer that is where it starts for an individual being, and that comes from sacrifices from both of them parents. Mm-hmm. Making sacrifices to remain
right
for a household there for the kid.
Right. See, my parents they've stayed together. They've never divorced. They've always been together. My aunt and uncle's always been together. My grandmother now, I told you she divorced my grandfather, but she remarried. He just recently died.
You said your aunt and uncle. I noticed something there. You that's your favorite aunt?
Yeah. She's they've been kind of like God family to me. Not just, I only see them every so often, and they're financially equipped to take care of you and, take you places and do things with you. They do it with my kids also. John and Mary Brandon, they've been God sent to me, he's part of the Catholic Church. He is a deacon, and she works at Sam's Club. She's worked there since they've opened. Yeah, so they've just been they're such good spiritually, they're good people.
Yeah. they're more pleasant to be around. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
And show you some encouragement.
yeah. I feel like I've been kind of adopted, into another family since my family has not been with me. And going there and being around them it makes my day. Seeing their struggles and seeing what they go through and being able to help when I can, and them accepting me, just means a lot to me. Like that's, I mean, it's, I don't think it would be my dream place to be, or not even theirs, but just having the people that they have around them. You just feel the love. You know what I'm saying?
It's reciprocated. And I said it on a prior podcast that what helps somebody usually is to help somebody.
Yeah.
And it's the craziest thing. But when you help somebody else out, it helps you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that, that comes with responsibility and, which requires self-discipline.
Right.
And I don't care who you are, where you at, everybody struggles with that. You're at the age of, capable of a lot more than you probably know.
Right.
Yeah. It's about where you want to go.
Right. My calling to just be there for them now, I know my children, it's all it's up to them if they want to be a part of my life or want me a part of theirs now, because it's too late in life for them for me to intervene, I wouldn't want to disrupt their lifestyles but I want to be there for them.
You also would want them to know you for you and not who they've been taught you are.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, they kind of sneak around and call me sometimes or try to get a hold of me, and they do have questions, and I tell them, the truth. I'll tell them the truth as long as it keeps it in a, in a,
good context.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to indulge any information that's not true to them, because I know they've heard a lot of things that are not, and that's okay, because like I said, I got this family that has taken me and that knows me for me, and that they've got to see something in me that they believe in, or they would have never done that. So I feel like if it's God's willing, that they will, be able to see my children with them one day too, I hope, because that means a lot to me.
I heard you just, God willing, you said you believe in a God, a higher power.
I do. I do. I feel like I've had a lot of heartaches and a lot of misfortunes in life, but I feel like in a sense I've been blessed also. I feel like there's been something, or something that's been with me throughout these times, or I would not be alive, for sure.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah. There's been something that's been watching over me that sees my struggles and sees my heart.
What's some of the situations that are lucky to make it out of it?
Well, just the grieving process, for one. The grieving process of losing my family. Knowing that they're alive, but it's just like they're dead to me. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
It's a constant nagging kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of ease up at any time.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I was, and without them, I was shunned completely. Like I walked aimlessly, but God revealed things to me, and I know that, and I call him God. I mean, it has, but I was revealed things, and that I was shown things that I needed to know, and things that showed me that I was protected.
Did you attend church as a kid there coming up?
I did, but It was I attended Catholic church.
Went to mass.
Yeah, so I really didn't understand it. You know, it was just.
Because some people believe, you know, if we believe that you could be reincarnated, right?
Mm.
Who would you be? Who were you in a former life?
That's a hard question because I have a lot of different theories in my head because I thought about it. I have thought about it.
Deja vu moments where, you know.
I've thought, you know, like, I feel like I could have possibly, I could be reliving, like I've taken on a lot of pain.
You're sacrificial kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're taking it off so somebody else doesn't.
That no one else knew about. You know what I'm saying? Like really, no one that ever really knew.
Well, I sense.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Amber, I sense that there's a lot underneath you there that you know, either you can't or you're not willing to let out. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I can.
I understand it. I'm just saying. I'm sorry.
I mean, thank you.
Right now, like if you had to go to a song to help you feel better or to kind of let loose, what song are you going to?
Oh Lord.
Whatever you listen to.
Well, I mean, I like Fleetwood Mac. I love Fleetwood Mac. That's my stuff. I like a lot of the blues. I was listening to the Red Clay Strays.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they've tried to get me to sing with them because I got some friends that plays the guitars, but I've always sang a cappella, you know, like I've always sang in jail, really. I've never really sang outside of jail, so it's kind of hard for me to, they catch me off guard. And, you know, like they want me to sing their songs that they want me to sing, and I'm not really practiced it just I have to be ready for it because I mean, it's just.
Yeah. Well, it's like your poem that you.
Yeah.
And you know, sharing it. It's similar to like what you will experience. It's similar to what you will experience when you see your playback on this. I'm never happy with anything I hear or see of myself, but that just keeps. I've learned not to look back and dwell on that.
Yeah.
Because it's like Joe Rogan said, never read the comments.
Yeah.
Just post it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just never read the comments.
I think I sing really good, but I think I'm a little tone deaf sometimes. So I'm like, that has a lot to do with it too. If I sing, I have to have the right kind of sound, you know.
Apparently here I've gotten some bands mixed up there because Fleetwood Mac doesn't seem to be who I was even talking about.
I don't
How I came up with that.
Probably because I went straight from that to blues. I was telling you.
Get this war, you know.
Oh yeah.
You I mean, you were probably wasn't allowed during Desert Storm. Maybe you were. Maybe.
Desert Storm. When was it?
Talk about wartime. Yeah, no, you probably wasn't. So this is Fleetwood Mac, Silver Springs Live.
Yeah, Silver Springs is a good one.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites. That one and Gold Dust Woman.
I lost my mom last February. Not this past February, the one before that.
Sorry.
And thank you. And it's been a whole lot with that. And even though in life, her and I were, she was such a loving, she was a loving heart, but she was hard to get close to. I'm just very conscious now as to the legacy we leave and how important we are as individuals to so many people, whether they acknowledge it or admit it or anything. You know, you could get this cloud about you, over top of you, and just kind of carry this cloud of darkness around. It comes with addictions and it comes with compulsive behaviors and so forth. I've just become more aware of not wanting my offspring or the other offspring that I influence to have to burden as parenting goes and as being a role model goes, you just got to be willing to pick yourself up on them days that you fucking knock yourself down. You know,
Right.
First thing you do in the morning is fucking punch yourself in the fucking face,
Right.
Metaphorically, and or the night before, just to let you know, don't even fucking try.
Right.
And kind of a abusive relationship with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things down deep that when you try to really fix things, that's where you got to go.
Right.
It's to those, and those are the hardest things to fucking deal with. I value friendships and camaraderie around a common thing. There's a common thread there.
Right.
And more times than not, it starts with that family unit and the loss of that family unit for that individual early on. But I don't think it affects as strong like if you was in your 20s or something like that. But
Right.
like teen and down, whether it be a car wreck that takes all the parents, whether it be the parents who just choose to not be there, or is it from any one of those scenarios, the sins of the father make the child's life 10 times harder. You thought about that?
I would, if I was born in the 60s, I'd probably be one of those travelers,
You were definitely be at Woodstock.
Yeah.
100%. If anybody watching this, young women particularly or anything, what advice would you have for them coming from the kind of same environment you did and where you are now? Like what you would any advice you would give?
I would just say, don't worry about the pressure that's put on you. Just kind of block that out. All the pressures of trying to satisfy, your destiny will come, naturally. Been a lot of misfortunes and a lot of unpleasant things I had to go through in my life, but with that came blessings also. Blessings that it might not be material things. It might not be the things that I want, but it's just the things that I unexpectedly, obtained, I think. And that's what keeps me going, because I know somebody always on my side. Somebody's always watching. I don't try to force the happiness. I just hang on, just knowing that, eventually it's going to come.
It's impossible to make your family proud.
Yeah.
Being at that goal set so high, maybe they did it for our best interest to make sure that we never stop.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then
there's got to be.
We're definitely doing that.
I'm sure there's always a reason for something. There's always a reasoning behind things. Always. And I try to always look at the good. Like there's always bad in it too.
I hope if any of your family does see this, that they are proud of you for sitting and telling your truth. Because I would challenge anybody.
I'm glad to have the opportunity.
In closing here, is there any thing you want to plug, like a charity or an organization or your Facebook page or some?
Of course, I'm strong on the Humane Society. I'm all about the animals.
Yeah,
I love the animals. Yeah. Oh yeah, I had a little pleasant. He just walked on in, buddy, and
little gentleman.
Yeah, little dog. He just nudged his little nose in, and he comes straight up to me. Never seen this dog a day in my life, and I had to keep him after that, because look, I've tried leaving him places, and he got off his chain and followed me plumb across town. I mean, he just
y'all instantly bonded.
Yeah, it was like the dog just knew me. Mm-hmm. I love animals, so just any kind of charity for them, and then the cancer society,
You mentioned leukemia.
My son, he's got leukemia, lymphoblast leukemia, and he's had it since he was 6. And he's in his 20s now, so, I'm very grateful that, he's been doing well. So, I mean, it makes a difference. I guess, that every little bit makes a difference. Do what you can. Like me, I'm on the side of the road with an animal. If I could get it off the road, I'm getting it off the road. I'm gonna take it home and take care of it. So
Where would you want to see yourself in 5 years?
I've always wanted to own my own business. Have property in the woods.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily in town. Not too far from town, but that's kind of what I want. Yeah.
Well, if you believe it, so do I.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
First female.
Aw, thanks. I'm honored. Thanks. All right.
One time for the slow grind. Fast nickel, slow dimes. 14 baby, the gold mine. Acres of diamonds and I own mine. No lie, so mine.